Then when coming to officials selling citizenship for fraud, the nefarious syndicate is a coordinated group of department officials responsible for unlawful processing and adjudication and receipt of visa application. However, they have engaged in behavior suggesting systemic corruption and illicit enrichment in violation of the official duties. The SIU can reveal that so far we have uncovered that 4 officials who earn less than 25,000 a month have received a total of 16.3 million in direct deposit. Evidence indicates that certain members of this group have acquired significant assets that are grossly disproportionate to their legal income. This includes the cash purchase of multiple properties and construction of high-value residence development. Some members have developed private properties with the extensive infrastructure such as large-scale solar installation and spacious parking lots, suggesting access to capital inconsistent with their official salaries. The SIU investigation showed that certain officials turned the permit system into a marketplace. Their modus operandi was simple. Applications were sent via WhatsApp for expedited approval, and once approved, money flowed almost immediately. Payments were not made directly to officials, but funneled through accounts held by their spouses, deliberately disguising the bribe. In one case, a payment was approved on the 20th of December 2021, and on 21 December, 3,000 had then been deposited in the spouse account. In another transaction also, we saw 6,000 transfer days after 2 payments were approved. This transaction revealed a direct link between approval and payments, leaving no doubt that payments were being sold. Officials also operated within syndicate using intermediaries to collect funds from foreign nationals, and transactions refer as permit and visa processes or building materials were used to mask the true nature of the payments. That is what we saw in their bank statement. Secondary accounts belonging to spouses reveal unexplained cash deposit amounting to hundreds of thousands of rands. The scale of enrichment was staggering. Analysis of construction company registered in the name of one official's husband revealed deposit of totaling 8.9 million between 2020 and 2023. These deposits were inconsistent with legitimate construction business activity and included payment explicitly referenced as PRP, meaning that permanent residence payment. At least 185,000 was directly linked to the PRP application. Officials turned their spouse into silent partners in crime. Another official accumulated so much wealth that she built a mansion and paved a road leading to her home on a monthly salary of 25,000, meaning that official built a tar road to her house. I mean, this is just to show how this official was soliciting money. I mean, with a salary of 25,000.
A Home Affairs adjudicator earning 25,000 rand a month allegedly amassed millions of rand in unexplained wealth, enough to build a mansion and tie a road leading to her property in what the Special Investigating Unit describes as a brazen visa corruption scheme. Briefing the media on the widening probe into corruption at the Department of Home Affairs, acting SIU head Leonard Kgetego said the scale of enrichment uncovered points to systematic abuse within the visa adjudication system, and said another official accumulated so much wealth that she built a mansion and paved the road leading into her home on a monthly salary of 25,000 rand. This is just to show how this official was soliciting money with a salary of 25,000 rand. According to the SIU's timeline, the official was appointed in April 2014 as an adjudicator in the department's visa adjudication system, VAS, earning a net salary of 21,000 rand and 44 at the time. By 2017, investigators allege unexplained deposits began flowing into her personal bank account. In 2018, she purchased land for 872,000 rand and 200 in cash and went on to construct a large double-story house on the property. She also financed a vehicle worth 662,000 rand and 723 during the same period. The alleged scheme deepened in October 2019 when a construction company owned and controlled by her husband was registered. The SIU says 185,000 rand, referencing permanent residence permit PRP applications, was later deposited into the company's account. Between 2017 and 2014, the adjudicator allegedly received more than 2 million rand in direct cash deposits. A further more than 8 million rand in suspicious funds believed to be linked to visa fraud activities flowed through her husband's construction business. Investigators say WhatsApp messages and banking records point to a coordinated pay for approval operation involving multiple officials. And their modus operandi was simple. Applications were sent via WhatsApp for expedited approval, and once approved, money flowed almost immediately. An internal audit also flagged the official for approving 459 Nigerian study visa processed through the Cape Town VFS Center between 2021 and 2023, raising further red flags about the integrity of the system. The revelations form part of an investigation authorized under Proclamation 154 of 2024, which empowers the SIU to probe serious maladministration and corruption in visa issuance between 2004 and 2024. Lekgetho described the implicated adjudicators as coordinated nefarious syndicate entrusted with safeguarding the country's immigration processes, but instead engaging in organized corruption and illicit enrichment. So these findings show that corruption in the visa system is not incidental. It is organized, deliberate, and devastating to public trust. The SIU's investigation continues with potential civil recovery and criminal referral expected as authorities move to dismantle what appears to be an entrenched network of visa fraud. Meanwhile, Shepherd Bushiri and Nigerian televangelist Timothy Omotoso's name have emerged in a special investigation by the Special Investigating Unit into systematic corruption within the Department of Home Affairs. The SIU said its investigation painted a disturbing picture of how officials allegedly enriched themselves by unlawfully issuing permits, using spouses as conduits to launder bribes. The SIU said syndicates operation with precision, exploiting weaknesses in verification and monitoring. At the same time, external factors such as Prophet Shepherd Bushiri, Mr. Dagwashe, Mpofu, and Nigerian nationals linked to the Maclean case leveraged influence, fabricated documentation, and misused networks to secure fraudulent immigration status. The SIU said Bushiri's permanent residence permit was approved by an adjudicator who was a member of his church, ACG Ministries, describing this as a clear conflict of interest. It was reported that Bushiri's application was supported by what the SIU described as a fraudulent letter of financial independence, signed by a chartered accountant who admitted he was paid merely for his signature. The SIU said Bushiri held directorships in 14 companies and owned multiple properties in Pretoria. According to SIU acting head Leonard Lekgetho, Omotoso's modus operandi was fundamentally built on fraud and misrepresentation to gain entry into and subsequent residence in South Africa. He said Omotoso's initial entry was secured through a fraudulently obtained work permits issued in a country where he was not a citizen, based on an unauthorized directive. He allegedly provided conflicting information about his travel history and residency and submitted affidavits claiming lost documentation to avoid producing verified credentials. When his visa renewal was denied, he petitioned for a ministerial waiver, and the investigation revealed that this waiver was unlawfully granted by an official without the necessary delegated authority. The findings make one thing clear: South Africa's immigration system was treated as a commodity. Permits and visas were sold, traded, and laundered. On the other hand, the SIU has revealed that there is no official record showing how Nigerian rapper Prince Daniel Obiomia, known as 3GAR, re-entered South Africa before he was involved in the high-profile Maclean crash in Cape Town. In its interim report into systematic maladministration within the Department of Home Affairs, the SIU said Obioma overstayed his visitor's visa in 2023 and remained illegally in South Africa until his departure. He later re-entered the country without a record. Despite that unlawful status, he was identified as the driver in the Maclean accident in March 2025. His unexplained re-entry highlights serious failures in border management and movement control systems. The political parties are demanding urgent action following the SIU report that exposed widespread corruption within the Department of Home Affairs. The economic freedom fighters described the report as damning, highlighting that more than 2,000 study visas were allegedly issued fraudulently and at least 20 officials have been dismissed. The EFF spokesperson Sanal Tambo said the investigation confirmed that criminal syndicates had captured the department from within. He condemned the irregular facilitation of permanent residence permits for religious figures, stating Shepard Bushiri, who fled South Africa while facing serious criminal charges, should never have benefited from a compromised immigration system in the first place. He said when immigration systems are bent to shield individuals facing serious allegations, it ceases to be administrative misconduct and become political protection of impunity. Tambo emphasized the consequences of corruption, warning that it has had direct consequences for justice, public safety, and national credibility. He added that the ordinary Africans, particularly those from war-torn or failing countries, queue for months in humiliating conditions, while politically connected individuals were fast-tracked and shielded, and said this dual system fuels social tension and xenophobic resentment, not because migrants are the problem, but because corruption distorts fairness and transparency. The African National Congress political leadership, which presided over this decay, cannot escape accountability. The rot within Home Affairs did not emerge overnight, but flourished under the watch of successive administrations that failed to digitize systems, enforce border control, and insulate immigration processes from criminal networks. He warned that the ANC leadership, which presided over this decay, cannot escape accountability and demanded immediate criminal prosecutions of all implicated officials and external collaborators through the NPA, including asset forfeiture proceedings against those who benefited financially. Meanwhile, the ANC has welcomed the interim report as part of an ongoing program to combat corruption and organized crime within the state institutions. ANC spokesperson Mahlengi Bhengu said the investigation revealed a deeply disturbing pattern of alleged syndicate infiltration into sovereign systems, fraudulent visa and permits, identity fraud, manipulation of verification processes, and the unlawful commodification of citizenship. She stressed that the ANC supports the swift implementation of the SIU's recommendations and that the internal controls must be tightened, regulatory loopholes closed, and accountability enforced without fear or favor. Action SA Parliamentary Chief Whip Lerato Ngobeni expressed concerns over the compromised immigration system, saying it has been reduced to a marketplace where permits and visas are sold to the highest bidder. Ngobeni commended the SIU's work but criticized the delays in formally investigating practices that had been widely known for decades. She cited cases involving Bushiri and Omadoso, warning that both individuals allegedly exploited, fraudulent or improperly obtained documentation to build questionable wealth, influence, and power within our borders. Ngobeni highlighted financial irregularities, reporting that officials allegedly used spouses' bank accounts and third-party intermediaries to launder illicit proceeds, with 4 officials earning less than 25,000 rand per month, reportedly receiving more than 16 million rand in unexplained deposits. She called for the immediate arrest of all implicated individuals, the freezing of illicit assets, and the urgent strengthening of the consequence management within Home Affairs. Ngobeni also emphasized the role of the Minister of Finance in allocating adequate resources to the Border Management Authority, which she said has been insufficient to fulfill its constitutional mandate. What's your take on this one, people? Thanks for watching. Please subscribe for more news.